If you follow me, you already know I love PlayStation. You also know I'm not a fan of Xbox. You know this about me. No reason. It's just what I'm used to. It is what it is. If I had the power to create the gaming industry that I want, if I knew everything about the industry and I had the ability to move everything around, and I didn't have like shareholders in the way, like directors, people doing, you would not see one controller that needs batteries in it anywhere. You wouldn't see a single circle with an X in it. Halo wouldn't be a thing. You wouldn't see that. Clearly I'm not, right? I'm not all powerful. I'm not all knowing about the industry. So we got to deal with some Xbox people. But that, as a whole, that's the problem with evil. Let's make it make sense. Now, before we get into it, let's make sure we're very clear about what we're talking about. Some people hear the problem of evil when they hear talks about God, and they think this is a thing that says God doesn't exist. That's not what it is. The problem of evil is a critique on one specific type of God. So if you have a God that's limited, this isn't for you. If you believe in a God that's like mean, evil, all of that stuff, we're not talking to you either. The deadbeat dad God that created the universe and then pieced out, this isn't about that. The problem of evil is only about what we would call an omni-God, the one that at a minimum is all powerful and all good, whatever that means, but also I would say all knowing, some people say. So like you would call that omnipotent, omniscient, omnibenevolent, the tri-omni God, sometimes people say. So that's not just like a fringe thing. A lot of mainstream religions will say, my God is all of those things. Okay. And so when you hear people here in our country talk about their religion and the God that they believe in, that's the God they typically mean. Where does that leave us with the problem of evil? Let's build it in the way that the example I gave you about Xbox. So we'll start here. Part one, move one. I tell you I hate Xbox. Every single time you hear me talk about Xbox, I hate that. Also, I tell you, hey, I'm the most powerful person in gaming. I can do whatever I want. I also know all the SKUs. I know all the deals, where all the deals are made. I know the wiring for every console. I have unlimited money. I have all the leverage, and I'm super focused. So with all that said, what you would expect to see is no Xboxes. You go to Walmart, there's no Xbox. Target, no Xbox. You go to Walmart and you see an Xbox. You not only see an Xbox, you see a bunch of Xboxes. So that leaves you with three different conclusions. The first one is, I'm not able to stop Xbox. That means I'm not as powerful as I told you I am. The second option is I don't want to stop it. I don't feel like it. Well, that might mean that I don't hate Xbox as much as I think I do, or as much as I advertise. The third option is when you go to Walmart and you see an Xbox Series, whatever, that's not really an Xbox. We'll come back to that. So keep that in mind and swap an Xbox out for evil. Same conversation, same logic, same three conclusions. So you know how to evaluate this, right? Like just think about it. Every console generation, when they announce the PS6 and the Xbox, whatever, if there will be one, you know what to do there. Now we remove all the constraints. We don't have investors. We don't have antitrust law. We don't have Phil Spencer or whoever the hell is over there with their feelings or whatever. All powerful, all knowing, no obstacles between my will and reality. Now the gap between I hate Xbox and Xbox has a first-party exclusive lineup. There's no excuse now, right? Now the gap is a choice. I'm choosing that. And that is the logical problem of evil. Basically, if you have an all-powerful, all-knowing, all-good God, any evil is a contradiction. They can't exist at the same time. One of those two has to be false. It's got to be a lie. Now, the definitional thing, that third thing we talked about, it's not really evil. It's just the absence of good, right? And goes back to a lot of early Christian theologians. Yeah, that's just no. Because a child, like if you go to St. Jude's and you tell them, hey, your child dying, that's not evil. That's the absence of good. That's not what that is, right? That's a presence. That's a thing. That's something you can measure. That's something you can biopsy. It's something that shows up on a scan. It screams in pain. It's not an absence. It's a presence. Theists aren't stupid. I know it sounds weird to hear me say that, but they're not. The argument isn't new, okay? There are two big responses to this. They don't bridge the gap. The first one we would call the free will defense. God allows evil because he gave humans free will. He's not going to override what we decide, even if the choice is bad, because a universe with freedom is better than a universe with puppets. Okay, cool. Well, there's two problems with that. The first one, you got evils that don't require choices. Earthquakes, tsunamis, like we said, cancer. There's no free will. Like, I didn't free will a tsunami. I didn't free will a volcano. There's no free will when a fault line does what it does. So free will isn't covered by that. Next, he's all powerful. I mean, come on, an all powerful God could create me with the free will that just happens to want to do good. I mean, free will is a choice between A, B, C, D, and I just always want to do the good thing, right? That doesn't mean I'm a puppet. I just was designed with better stuff up here. I made the customers. So I can't say, hey, I can't stop Xbox because customers want Xbox. I can make customers that want PlayStation. Some of them say evil exists because suffering builds character. You get growth, resilience, moral depth. So if you don't have adversity, you don't grow virtue. Well, let me ask you this question. How much character do you need to build that you need to create a world where a child, a baby, a kid dies of cancer? That's all. I'm always going to go back to that because that's crazy. How much character do you need to build when you have grown people that do unspeakable things to children, to women, to marginalized communities? How much character do you need? It's not a one-to-one thing because at some point you're charactered out. And think about this. If I told you with a straight face that the reason Xbox exists is to make PlayStation games better, but Xbox is kid cancer, you wouldn't be good with that. You wouldn't say, hey, this jump from 1080 to 4K, it's necessary, and it's so necessary, kids have to die. So why would we switch that standard up? Like, we wouldn't switch it for PlayStation and Xbox. So why would we switch it for a God? Now, these responses, they work great against a God that's not all the things. If you have a God who's doing his best, hey, I'm trying to jump in and I can't do everything all at the same time. Both of these responses work better against like a all the things God. Like if a God's doing his best, but I can't get all to everything at once. If you have to balance these values and you just can't figure it all out, can't get there fast enough, maybe, right? But the all everything God, no. That means no constraints. That means everything that happens is you're picking it every time. Now, if the logical problem of evil says any evil is a contradiction, let's do an upgrade to this. Some philosophers, I'm not going to get into jargon here, but some philosophers think that's too much. It's too much to say any evil. Like maybe there's like a reason, a necessity for some evil, and we just don't know about it. Cool. Maybe one Xbox has to exist. Some Series X out there has to sit there, or two. Something to make me feel happy that I have this. You know what I mean? Maybe. Okay. So does the amount of Xboxes you see look like the work of a Jeff that has all the power in the gaming industry and all the desire to stop Xboxes from happening? So we create a distinction here. Necessary evil versus gratuitous evil. I don't even like that term, but that's the term that gets used. And so like necessary evil would be some level of suffering that even though it's bad, you get some good at the end. The lesson, the moral of the story. Gratuitous evil doesn't serve a purpose. It doesn't build character. There's no redemption. There's no greater good. It's just suffering with nothing on the other end. So let's say the way Halo Infinite looked at launch. No shade. The dashboard to Xbox. You ever look around that? You can't figure it out? That's gratuitous. How the price of Game Pass is always like jumping around and some cute little animal in the middle of nowhere getting eaten slowly while it's alive by like a snake. And it's suffering the whole time. Similarly, I don't know, if somebody loses a child in the woods and it gets eaten by a snake, suffering the whole time, that seems gratuitous. There's no soul building, none of that. The evidential problem of evil says that even if you can't prove that the God doesn't exist, just the volume of all of this stuff happening is enough for you to say that it's better explained by just the universe being there and not by some like perfect architect. Because it's a lot. Because it's not just one Xbox that's in the stores. There's tons of them. Xbox is all over the place. It consistently goes. It's attached to one of the biggest companies in the world. It ain't going nowhere. Children are going to be playing Forza long after I'm gone, long after the next generation after me is gone, and the next generation after that. Kids are going to be playing Halo Infinite 2, 3, 5, whatever, way after I'm gone. So clearly, that's not the work of an Xbox hating Jeff. Yeah. If I tell you I'm still all powerful, there's a name for that. It's called cope. So let's be honest about what the problem of evil, what it does and what it doesn't do. It doesn't just prove God doesn't exist. So we can throw that out. Theists, you can breathe. Cool. It does prove that this omni-God is either not real or not as advertised. Like there's something fishy in this whole thing. So if you want to believe in a God and the only thing you're hearing is the problem of evil, fine. There's a lot of options. There's a God that ain't around. He goes to another school. You just don't know him. There's a God that has limits. He ain't done push-ups, you know. There's an apathetic God. He don't really give a fuck. He's just doing his thing. He don't care what we doing. I don't care about those when I'm talking about the problem of evil. But if you want to talk about your God is all powerful and knows everything and good, like 100% good, then he got some splaining to do. We need to talk about this. We need to say, hey, well, then why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? Most serious people in theology understand this. They understand what the issue is. The smarter move is just to quietly give up one of these omnis or two, or limit the omnis altogether and get to some other state. There are different types of theology that do this. You can look these up. Process theology will do something like this. Look that up. Open theism will do something like that. And it's not bad to do that. It's just that once you do that, you're disconnected from the God that everybody else is saying, hey, that's my guy. So that's a concession before we even start talking about, like, does it exist? Right? So you already have to limit it. We don't let console gods do this back and forth thing, right? We shouldn't let regular gods do it either. In gaming, it's called cope. In theism, it's probably the same thing. Hopefully, I made it make sense. If you enjoyed this, like the video, subscribe, tell your friends, and I'll see you next time.